and thanks again for tuning in to another edition of Viably's Voices of Collaboration, where we get to sit down and talk more than just shop with some of Viably's closest partners in the industry. I am so excited. I have Amy Hoang joining me today, who helped start and found Women Sellers, an amazing community of female-based Amazon sellers that we've had the opportunity to partner really closely with. But Amy, before I totally steal your thunder, certainly welcome and thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Liz. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled that we have the chance to actually sit down and catch up. We have talked, I know, recently on a webcast we did together that we finally got to see each other in person, which I feel like is a rarity, but is becoming more and more frequent at Prosper this year, which was super fun. But we've done a handful of webinars together and some other things. But I'm so glad that we have this outlet to really just have the chance to like catch up and talk so much about your experience in the industry.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad that you're doing this because it's been a minute now since I've done an interview, and I just wanted to share my story, hopefully inspire somebody to get started.
Yes, that's the whole goal of these. So let's go ahead and dive in together. Now, Amy, I would love, I know I've talked to a handful of partners and sellers, but you all in particular, you and your husband have a really interesting start to how you kind of drove your wedge into the Amazon and e-commerce space. So I would love if you could tell our listeners really how you got started in your full journey from being a seller to now founding Women Sellers Community.
Yes, absolutely. So we started about 10 years ago, where I was just in pharmacy school trying to make a couple $100s to pay for books. And I was listening to a lot of podcasts, just like this one. And I stumbled on one called The Smart Passive Income by Pat Flynn. And he interviewed a couple who was doing Amazon FBA. And back then, FBA was not very well known. So I didn't have a lot of information about how to get started. So I was just going into a lot of different communities. And for anyone who don't know what Amazon FBA is, it stands for Fulfilled by Amazon. So instead of you holding all the inventory in your house, you send it to a fulfillment center. And when someone purchased the product, Amazon will do all the fulfillment, the shipping, the customer service for you. So it was a really interesting model because I was in a dorm room, so I didn't have a lot of space to store a lot of product. So this was something that was really interesting to me because now that I kind of think back about it, I've always been into reselling. I've done eBay for couple decades now.
Mhm.
My dad has always been doing, I call him the OG of retail arbitrage because he used to go to flea markets and buy things low and sell them high. So that's basically what
You
retail
learned at the foot of the
arbitrage.
master.
Yes, that's right. And I should go back and tell him like this story now because he still can't believe that I'm doing this full time because I was in pharmacy school to be a pharmacist and I did that and for a number of years. And then after the pandemic hit, we kind of felt that like, just like anyone else, my husband lost his job and we had to do something about, supplementing our income.
Mhm.
So during that time, I stumbled on a model called a replen. And that's just a fancy word for replenishable. And that's just when you're buying things that you can sell over and over again on a regular basis. So that model really worked for us. It took off and the rest is history. We're still doing that. And we're really happy to be able to help out the people in the women in the Facebook group called Women
Mhm.
Sellers of FBA. Because when I first started, now I'm kind of going backwards again. There wasn't a lot of communities for just women. Even today, I can't really find a solid community with just women sellers. So I called ourselves Women Sellers and I started the group with just maybe a handful of sellers. And then it started to grow and took this momentum. We're almost at 30,000 members now, which is
Oh my
crazy to
gosh, that's
me.
insane.
I know to think about because I literally just started it as a outlet for me to bounce ideas off of other sellers who are women, who are moms, and who knows what it's like to be an entrepreneur. You know, it's very lonely, this type of business. So we
Mhm.
needed the support, and that's exactly what it is up until today.
Yeah, I think that that's amazing, and I was actually gonna ask, like, how many members are you sitting at today? And I know too, when we were at Prosper recently this year, there were a number of folks who were coming because they've been a part of your group as well. So it's really amazing, I think, to see that full transition. And Amy, when did you start the community for women sellers? I know, again, you kind of talked about that journey, but how long has the community been in place?
I started it around 2016, so
Hmm.
almost 10 years now. I think 8.5 years, and right around when I had my first son. So
Hmm.
that's when I started this business as well. It's funny how, as moms, we get motivated to do certain things because we have like somebody who, is
Really
relying on
depends
us.
on us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so crazy, and I think too, it's really incredible to witness the transformation that the work that you guys do on your community has taken as well. Like, I'd love to hear a little bit when you kinda started the Facebook group, did you have visions that you would be delivering weekly webinars or Ask Me Anything? Like, what are all the different shapes that it's taken since it's been in place for so long?
I didn't have any vision, to be honest with you, Liz. I thought it would just be a place where I'm gonna vent on my bad days and share my
You're
small
my digital
wins and
therapist. Yeah.
and yeah, be like my virtual therapist. But it became so much more as I hear what is needed in the community, such as we need to know how to get started and we just want a guideline. I created the course as just like a very, blueprint for anyone who's just getting started. And then it kind of evolved into what it is today, where people are asking me for leads because they just don't know where to get products, to get reliable products. And it started with just a handful of people saying, Amy,
Mhm.
can you help me find a lead? And at first I was like, sure, I can do it for us because there's only 5 of you. But then more and more people wanted that service. So we created something called Amy's Pods, where again, it's just a leads list. And today we are able to support the community that way. And the lives is completely free. We do it on a bi-weekly basis now and did not see that coming at all because I was just hopping on lives here and there. Sometimes I would be sharing with me holding my kids and I'm like, okay, it's a Saturday and I'm still packing products. And people just love that because it's very genuine and it's relatable. So I think that's where it kind of started to take off, where people are seeing that, I'm just like you. And I
Mhm.
get it a lot. They say it's just so easy to hear from you because you make it seem so simple. And I was like, it's not rocket science, but I think
I
so.
think people feel empowered when they see themselves reflected. I mean, like, that could honestly be taken in so many different aspects, but I think particularly in this business, people are feeling empowered, they're feeling motivated when they are sharing similar experiences and mind share to, again, kind of like idols in the space, you know? So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's where that point of relatability is so huge. And the other thing I wanted to kind of delve into with your women sellers community and experience as well, Amy, I know you talked a bit about replen and retail arbitrage, but I'd love to hear too kind of the evolution in that selling strategy that you've been helping folks with. I know a lot historically has been with retail arbitrage, but I know recently we were talking to a group about wholesale. So I'd love to kind of hear from you as well, kind of the evolution that you've seen in how folks are selling on Amazon and how you've been able to speak to those different selling strategy types.
Yeah. So when we were starting with retail arbitrage, it was very easy to get started and easy to see the cash flow really quickly. But a lot of sellers found themselves kind of stuck because
Mhm.
they weren't able to grow just by themselves doing all the prepping and packing. And that's when I introduced wholesale because I had a friend who just started with me 4 years ago,
Mhm.
and he had no experience in selling at all, and he liked retail arbitrage, but he also started doing wholesale. And I was like, oh, how are you doing? And then within, I think, less than 6 months, he was already at $100,000 in sales. I'm like, okay, let me hear more about what you
Yeah.
did and your strategy. And of course, he started to tell me that it required a lot more cash flow. So he had a
Mhm.
little bit of a saving and he used that to buy all of his inventory, and then he showed his other buddy to do it. And he's now at like 3.2 million, which I think
Wow.
is crazy for
Yeah.
people who don't have any experience and able to do this. So the key is to find the right products and make sure that once you do find that product, you have the sufficient cash flow to keep it going.
Mhm.
Amazon is very cash hungry. So once they see kind of a slowdown, the algorithm just stops being on your side. So you want to continue keeping that going. And that's what we talk about with a lot of the folks in the live last week,
Mhm.
where when you're at a level where you're comfortable with starting to grow your business and scale it, you might need help if you don't have that chunk of savings already, because wholesalers are business and they want to work with you as a business. So they're going to expect you to order like really large inventory at a
Right.
time. And you want that because you're seeing this product is taken off so well. So you want to kind of keep it going, right? So
Yeah,
that's where
no,
we are
that
now.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And I think again, it's really cool to see as well, kind of as I mentioned, evolution, but also the shift in maturity that you have too with some of the sellers who are joining and asking for feedback. So I think that that's a huge kudos to what you and your husband have built in that area. And I think too, it's so nice that you get to be a part of, for some, the incarnation of their journey on Amazon, and for others, like you're kind of helping along the way. So it's really cool to see that kind of evolve and grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just the people that I meet in the Facebook group. Some people are people locally. When we do meetups here, they
Mhm.
come and I hear people telling me that, oh, they're doing really good. And then they
Yeah.
kind of graduate from the group and doing their thing now. And I was like, hey, I kind of want to know what you're still doing. So sometimes I will
Yeah.
kind of reach out to them and
That's
see,
so fun
because
to reconnect. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was like, wow, you're doing how much now? It's
Proud
amazing.
parent moment. Yeah.
Yes, right?
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Well, I know we talked a little too, Amy, about the partnership that Viably and Women Sellers have had together. And I know that it's been a really unique partnership as well, because traditionally we have partnered with folks kind of from the service provider standpoint. But I think for you, we saw a real opportunity between Women Sellers and Viably to help educate and again, empower sellers to that next degree of success that they're looking to hit. But I'd love to hear kind of your take on the partnership that we've had and how we've been able to team up together to help sellers.
Yeah, and it has been such a seamlessly kind of like a friend chatting with a friend type of partnership. And we've been, I think you said 1 year mark to
Yeah.
today, up until,
Hmm.
and when you first reached out to us, we're like, okay, there's a lot of different opportunities here. But I find that for the sellers who are new, they needed the funding the most, and
Hmm.
Viably has always been very accommodating, and now you even have that new program for wholesalers who need funding. And so I think when we were starting to partner up with you, I just didn't know what to expect, because I have done other funding and there's all sorts of like hidden fees and terms that I it wasn't just upfront to us. So we kind of gotten scarred, but then with Vibely, it was just a seamless process. The onboarding was really easy. Granted that my husband, did all that onboarding process. So I wasn't sure, but from his feedback, he said it was really easy. The staff was amazing. Everyone was very accommodating. So we really appreciated that. So we wanted to see how that process looked before we introduce it to our community. And that's when we started doing more partnerships and going on lives with each other. So for the most part, I can't recommend Vibely enough, because I think that it's an opportunity for anyone who need extra funding to grow and scale your business. I mean, I always say that you can start out small, but you're going to continue being small if you don't invest your time and money into it. So that's
Hmm.
where Vibely comes in.
Yeah, and so thankful for the high praise. Again, I think our partnership has been really unique in the fact that not only do I think we have opportunities to share the good word about each other to our respective audiences, but you guys have been an incredible partner to Viably as well, because you've also taken funding from us to help with your growth and go through the experience so that you can tout that experience to your sellers. But also, we was involved in several product-based conversations, helping improve the actual experience within our product. So I always like telling that story that we share together too, because there's so many ways that we've been able to advocate and equip each other, both like from a value standpoint and also in helping both of the sellers that we team up with with too. So it's just been such a mutually beneficial partnership, and we're so excited for what we can keep doing together.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the future lies ahead
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure. Well, a couple of other things before our time is up, Amy. I think, I always love hearing, and again, you're so close to what's happening as a seller, and both with the chatter that happens in your Facebook group, some of the big trends that you are hearing that are top of mind. I know one that has come up a lot recently is the increase in fees that are happening in Amazon, but I'd love if you have any other trends that you've been hearing, or if there's been like chatter of like something that's really exciting on the horizon. I guess like what's the latest buzz on your end?
Yeah, Amazon is always trying to improve, and recently they have increased the fees for different services, but one of them is that if you don't keep the item in stock, they're going to charge you. And a lot of people are angry
Hmm.
at this, but that's actually a good thing because they want you to be in stock. So they're giving you a heads up that, okay, if you don't stay in stock, the customer is not going to be able to purchase from you. And then in turn, you're not going to be able to make a sale. So they're kind of giving you an opportunity to plan ahead. And when they rolled
Hmm.
out this, they kind of give you a little leeway in April. Any fees that incur, they're going to reimburse you next month. So that's a way to kind of transition into this new fee. Anytime Amazon roll out a new policy, there's always a reason to their madness. And this one, I know it kind of stinks, but it's actually for a good purpose. So if you're able to stay in stock, then you won't get hit with this fee. And I know there are a lot
Hmm.
of people in the community who is like, oh, they want me to have 2,000 units in stock. That's like impossible. But if they see that this is something that's trending upward, so they want you to get ready for, the wave that's coming in.
Yeah.
Another thing that we've been kind of playing with is other platforms that Amazon, the platform, has different um, other avenue streams. And we've been dabbling into KDP, which is their
Hmm.
Kindle publishing directly with the self-publishing. So if
Yeah.
you have a book in you and you want to write it, you don't have to store inventory, and they're going to be able to help you launch that product. And we also did Amazon Influencer, which requires us to post videos and purchase products that you use already, and you earn commission that way. So there are so many different opportunities, and all of this is kind of encompassed, and we wrapped up in a nice bow within the women sellers community to help you all kind of diversify your income.
Definitely. I think that those are really exciting things to remain aware of and kind of dabble in as well. And I think one of the things that I've taken away from our partnership and in getting close with you too, Amy, is just you have such an approaching way to tackle on what's happening on Amazon. And I think too, that's what's been so great. We both try really hard to be approachable educators so that the folks that we work with can be successful. So as always, I really appreciate you kind of giving me the 411, the too long didn't read version, so that I can fully embrace and understand what's going on, and further tout that to those who are joining us. But that's all that I have for us today. I absolutely, as always, love chatting with you, Amy. It's a total joy. If you have questions or you want to learn more about Amy's group, we'll have her details included below in the links. But Amy, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down. I know you are a very busy lady, but it was just a pleasure chatting with you and looking forward to what we'll do next together.
Thank you so much, Liz. Thanks again for having me, and we'll talk with you soon.
Awesome.